right, well, welcome everyone. We are glad to be back for session 2 of Parenting and Technology. Welcome everyone online. Those of you are joining us for Sober Sunday. This is Sober Sunday with me, Simon Bevy, stimulating conversations around matters that affect us every day. And I'm excited today for what we are going to dig deeper into. A lot of you said from last week we needed to touch on a few other things. Last week we were talking about the same topic, parenting and technology, with a greater focus on pornography and inappropriate content that our children get exposed to, and how we're supposed to react to that and how we're supposed to guide them once we discover that. And so I want to invite you to invite your friends, tell them we're on, we're live. Looking forward really to this discussion today. A lot of parents have been asking me questions that touch around this. It's a great concern for all of us who are parenting in this season of technology, in this season really, where technology has taken center stage. I want to invite you to host a watch party and let your friends join us as we do this. And I want to introduce my panel so that we jump right into it. Let me start with Evelyn Casina. We were here again last week. Evelyn, ICT or IT consultant and also a coach on matters technology. But you can better introduce yourself and say a few more things about yourself.
Okay, thank you so much for having me here again. I'm so happy to be here. Evelyn Casina, I'm actually a family IT consultant. I consult specifically within the family unit, and I'm a digital learning leader, helping us see what else we can do as we're keeping our children safe online. How else can they harness technology? What else can they do with this amazing thing that we are here discussing? Yes, so that's my role. Thank you.
Excellent. And you're a mother, of course.
Yes, I am a mother of 2.
Okay.
Yes.
Excellent. Then we have my good brother, former neighbor, that is Ewagata, youth pastor at Purpose Center, and also a parent. Welcome, sir. We're glad to have you today.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a joy to be here again.
Yes. Well, I think let's get right into it. Just for those of you who are not with us last week, and what we discussed last week is available on our YouTube channel at Transform Nations, and you could watch it and get to hear some of the things we talked about. I think when it comes to technology and parenting, we're talking about several things. One, we're talking about exposure that the children have. And we talked about pornography, we mentioned on violence, but there are a few other things children get exposed to. Evelyn, what else are children likely to get exposed to in the space of technology?
I like to look at it in 2 ways. Obviously, when our children get onto the internet, they become global citizens, and I tell them that much. You just don't belong to Kenya only. You become, you become a global citizen, and the aspiration is for you to become a global digital citizen who is able to uphold certain values. And they will be exposed to negative things, and unfortunately negative things, but they're also exposed to a lot of positive things. And so the negative things could be, as we were discussing last week, so they will be exposed to, unfortunately, age inappropriate content, which is very deep. They can also get into spaces where they're getting, I don't like using the word addicted because that is a very strong word, but they can get dependent on playing games that unfortunately those games could radicalize them, and we are seeing a lot of radicalization happening through the games that they're playing. You find that your children are becoming inculcated in different cultures that can confuse them. And so when you've not, as a parent, offline, as we're supposed to be raising our children a lot offline with grounding them with values and stuff, the different cultures that they get involved in and they come across while they're on the internet, they confuse their being. And so I have started meeting children who have a lot of identity issues. And identity issues here is like they feel they have an ability to express themselves the way they want to. Like if you were to ask a child, I mean, we're having conversations with some pre-teenagers that is just below 13. And when you ask them who they are, they're like, I'm queer. I want to explore my options, because then they're getting into a space where these are conversations that are being had online. And because they don't have solid, or rather there are no solid voices at home that are shaping their identities for them, they get confused. And these are things that they get exposed to online. We are also seeing a lot of confusion when it comes to feminism and all these things, like, you know, when we are talking about Black Lives Matter, but it takes a different angle. Our children are being exposed, unfortunately, to a lot of violence through media. This is news. And also social media has a way of how we curate that content for ourselves. So there's plenty of, I have seen very young chaps actually who are getting into the space where they understand if they go online, they can entertain themselves, but also they're doing something else to improve their skills. So they want to code some of the things that were robbed by COVID, the fact that they can't do physical clubs. They're being able to engage themselves in clubs online, and so they're still continuing to sharpen their skills and to explore. And I find that that is something very positive, because I keep telling parents, as they're stressed about the amount of time the children are spending on the screen, they also need to think about the quantity of the content, because they can be in there coding, they can be doing amazing stuff, which can take longer. But then you start seeing that, you know, when you're weighing it, my child is actually doing something that is building them, as opposed to just what I tell my children and they're playing Roblox, mindless games. So yes, there is negative, but I like looking at it as a balance, so that even as we are trying to help them, we are striking a balance. I hope that makes sense.
No, excellent. I think there's a lot of good. There's a lot of educative material, a lot of, my daughter has been training herself some languages, sign language on the internet and stuff like that. So there's a lot of good. And it's about balancing and also being able to work with them to protect themselves, and where we are responsible, protect them from some of the stuff. I've dealt with some of the kids, or parents have brought some of the kids, talked to me about them, who have really gotten indoctrinated into weird spiritual stuff, witchcraft, all sorts of things. They talk about Satanism, and stuff that kids have gotten into and gotten scared. Now, you work a lot with the youth in the church and in other spaces. Has that been a concern?
Yeah, actually, I think, like Kasina said, just the shift in the sensitization of young people, where there's so much information at their fingertips, and so. And it's everything. It is different doctrinal beliefs on different things. It is different religious convictions. And it's also different spiritual experiences. And so Ouija this Eastern mysticism, which is very attractive, the yogas, the meditations, the emptying of yourself, and just, and there's such, and you watch all these things, and let me tell you, they're attractive even for those of us who have been in pastoral ministry. Just like, sometimes after a whole day of ministry, I just want to go and empty myself. And it sounds appealing. And for a young person who is not anchored, it's very easy to get lost in this mystics and everything. Now, the funny thing, as you mentioned that, I just remembered one of the classes I was teaching, these young guys who have finished high school, and they went online and Googled devil worship, and they found a phone number right here in Nairobi, and they actually got an invitation to go. And the guy was like, yeah, sure, you can come and pay a visit. So when they were about to leave, one of them developed cold feet and decided, in case we don't show up again, we'll go disappear, and I need to just let Pasi know what we are doing. And so he comes and tells me, Pasi, we are doing something, and I just thought it would be wise to tell you. We Googled devil worship. We found a number there. We called, and the guy told us we can go and visit this afternoon. These are guys who are going through a discipleship program. But you see, it's just the excitement of adventure that young people are going through. And so, because of so many, because they are aware of so many things. Again, the same thing, and I mentioned this last week. There's early exposure, and so they're exposed to things that at their age they should not be. And so they get caught up in this thing and they think it's fun, only to find that they have sunk into something that is way bigger than themselves, something that may change the trajectory of their lives altogether. And so 3 things that I just want to mention. Number 1, as we grow into this world, there's a lot of desensitization. Now, sensitization is where you get to know about things, but desensitization is where everything is easy. I can get in and get out of anything. I can taste weed, I can taste coke, I can sleep around, but I know my limits, because you watch the movies and the movies tell you this guy goes sleeps with this girl and he wakes up in the middle of the night, puts on his clothes and walks out. And the next time you're seeing him, he's looking so cool in this other hangout with another cool girl. And he never looks back, never feels guilty, never gets shame, never catches an STD. The girl never gets pregnant. They never get to hear all those things that we are sensitive about when we think about doing something are removed by the screen. Yeah. And so they live in a desensitized world. No wonder we see now radicalization is so cool, fight for your nation, fight for what you believe. And you find this villager from some village in Western Kenya is now a radical Muslim extremist because he was exposed to something that sounded grand. And because he's not sensitive to those things and gets desensitized about what it means to kill, they are able to go in there and do stuff. And then the other thing is that we have a decentralization of information. And so initially, your parent, your teacher, your spiritual leader, depending on where you grew up, if you were ACK, it was your canons and your priests. If it was Catholic, you had your priest. If it was Muslim, you had your clerics. Now, there's information from everywhere. From Eastern mystics to, extreme, spirit-filled churches to very traditional churches. And you can watch a Vatican church, you can watch an Islamic service, you can watch a Hindu service online and get access to all these things. And what does that do? It just creates a sense, and you've said it very rightly, you're raising people who are so unaware of themselves. Identity is lost. Their self-worth, their self-esteem, their sense of who they are is worse than what they were before they got into this world. The third thing is the delineation, where they move. They don't have a central point from where they see themselves. And so rather than move in a straight line, I am a boy, I will go to school, I will finish school, I will go to university, I will get a job, I will get married, I will have children, and I will grow old and retire to the village. That line no longer works. And so now they are dealing with, I can be a single father, can be a single mom. There was a whole hula baloo with Burale doing the singles thing the other day. I can be, married but live in New York and my wife is in South Africa, and that's cool. I can get married and have dogs and not have children. I can be single and just, have this partner, the Oprah Winfrey, just this partner that I've been with for 18 years. He's not my husband or she's not my wife, but we're just partners. It can be straight, it can be gay. And so there's no line. And so now you're seeing this, the mainstreaming of things that were actually initially not mainstream, and the sidelining of the things that were mainstream. Why? Because delineation is happening. And so your lane is not my lane. It's not that you are right and I'm wrong. It's just your path is different from my path. And so those 3 things that I see, desensitization, decentralization, and delineation, happen a lot in this world.
Yeah. Well, excellent. Yeah. No. Well covered. Thank you, Rex. That's a lot, and I hope you parents are taking notes. I think I like what you're saying. So that's the exposure, what that brings the kids to that. I mean, you're talking about some of the dangerous stuff. You find a lot of kids Googling and looking for stuff about how to kill yourself painlessly, how to commit suicide. And there are a lot of them, including my own relative who committed suicide. And when that happened, there was actually, it's like they had gone into the computer just to check out some of the things, how they would do that. And just a lot of stuff available out there. That is dangerous to the young people. And of course, we can't block all of it. So I think the big role is to teach them and train them and build the values in them that will make them have the right choices. But Kasina, talking about education, there's been, I do training in a few schools, private schools, and there's been a concern. A lot of I've heard from several head teachers that since the advent of COVID-19 and more introduction of the gadgets in learning centers, they have seen performance go down. Because of the way children are distracted, because it's just hard for the teacher to compete with very exciting stuff on the line. And then they are doing their English here and it's getting boring and they quickly go to YouTube and start watching something else, and before they can switch back, they have lost some concentration, some focus there. Yeah. How have you seen that with the students that you've been working with?
I mean, you have to, I think the biggest challenge that teachers have is they have to be creative to another level. And we were not prepared for it because
you have to be a movie star.
Especially when you're dealing with the very young ones who will give you 5 minutes. There are some who will just give you 5 minutes. And if you're not captivative, you've lost them and they've lost you and that's it. It has happened a lot, but I think one of the things that I have actually managed, and this I was doing even as I was doing my professional degree, is to try and gamify their content so that you're keeping them, attentive. I'm not saying, I don't want to use the word hooked because it's also it's a negative connotation, but getting them attentive. And we were using very simple games like Kahoots. There's a game called Kahoots, and you're a teacher, so go Google it, because it's a way like if you want to throw out quizzes to the kids in class, you just post some questions, and then when they're answering, they see their answers in the dashboard, and then the answers just look very nice and they're colorful, and the kids actually want to engage with you more in that way. But then again, I feel that our children are also curious. It's the same way as us. I don't know, when you open your machine sometimes how many tabs you have opened. You are doing something, then you said, let me open this tab, you find you have 20 tabs open, your machine is dragging. We are the same. It's just not unique to children. We suffer from the same thing. So I think for us, it's just helping them see, like, I keep telling like my own children, and I see them struggling with that, I tell them, first things first, what are you going to do? Finish that activity, wind it up, then do something else. And it's just teaching them how to put first things first and begin with the end in mind. I wanted to finish my assignment, let me finish my assignment, then go into the next thing. Because truth is, we also get distracted by the same things. I keep telling parents who tell me, my kid cannot put their gadgets down. And I ask them, when was the last time you put your gadget down? And then they're like, oh yeah. Or we are working, we have our phone here, we have a phone, TV is on, we have something else. So we have like 5 different screens all lighting up, and we want to tell ourselves that we are working, but really, you know what I mean? And you want your child to actually focus on one screen. It's impossible. So we have to just be realistic with ourselves sometimes as parents. And that's what I say. Even when you're creating boundaries, as I said last week, always show your children that you're human, because when you show vulnerability, they learn from you, because they're like, but then my mom also struggles to put like the phone down when she's working, but she's probably doing something about it. So that when you're teaching them, they're not feeling like they're failing because they're not doing what you expect them to do, but they're working towards it. It's the same as the screen. So help them build their attention, help them get into the space where they're excited about the content that, that they're being taught. I think for us, we have to just be a bit more creative, but we need to just help them get excited about the content. We also need, and I think for educators, because this was specifically for educators really need to go deeper right now to see the different ways they can their different students' attention, because everybody consumes. Once you get that hang of it, you're able to create content and it will speak to the different students in a way that they feel they're hooked into the class and they're comfortable and they feel like their needs are being met. Not the lecture, you know, PowerPoint, it is very blunt, haina video, haina pictures. You lose half of your class. Half of it is gone. Just creativity.
Well, Kasina, before I leave you, there's the aspect that social scientists say, especially before kids are 12, they need a lot of playtime for their mental development. That actually a lot of time on the screen without time out of, you know, in terms of play, because that is needed for development and coordination and several other developmental skills, that it actually affects them. I feel like both at home and also at school, we're reducing the time of play, which is very crucial for these young kids, right?
And you know, before COVID, actually, WHO had created like a standard, like given us a standard guide as how we can help different children from different ages to cope with screen time. And then it was saying if your child is below the age of 3, and it is actually 3, and people argue, your child should not have screen time at the age of 3, because you don't want to tune them to have that glare of the screen. And very many parents, we get it wrong when we are breastfeeding. You have a phone in front of you, and when the child gets tuned to that, if the phone is not there, they know there's something wrong. When we start weaning them into food, there's a cartoon singing something. So when that is not there, something is wrong. So they're saying before the age of 3, it's 0 screen time. Between 3 and 5, they're saying 30 minutes a day, but also, and they insist it has to be supervised screen time. When you start escalating, add like 20 minutes or 30 minutes, depending. You really don't need to capture, like if you're told your child can do 2 hours, they really don't need to sit there for 2 hours, but you're also helping them get like screen breaks. So what I train parents to do, and I also train children to create their own screen time, is to make sure when they wake up, they know their goals. You know, they know the chores that they need to do. And then if the screen is not part of like their study or something, like they really need to do like communication, let it come after they've done their chores. But then they have to put in breaks. And I keep insisting, if your kids cannot go outside, because I know like right now there's a concern of COVID and all these other things, let them go do something that is just outside a screen. They can scream, they can draw. Let them do something, but out of a screen. But you have to train them. And I keep telling parents, sing like a broken record. It's fine. But let them get in tune to be off the screen, be intent. Of course, with COVID now, we have to really negotiate, because entertainment iko kwa screen, communication iko kwa screen, sengine shule iko kwa screen. So we need to start having a bit of negotiation. But I keep insisting, if your child is on a screen for an hour, that's a problem. They need to just stop for like 10, 15 minutes, rest their eyes, stretch their legs, do something, come back. So that at least you're also giving them that opportunity to stretch. And especially, and I keep saying, if you have boys need to go outside and kick some balls or something. They need to expel that energy in a physical field, because it can become very dangerous. So I keep saying, just insist that you need to have kids. When the weather is permittive and they can't be outside, let them go outside. Their boredom, parents, listen to me very carefully. Your children's boredom is not your problem. Let them get bored. In that boredom, they will look for creativity and they look for something to do. It will not kill them. It will not.
Excellent. Excellent. It's interesting you're saying that, especially the breaks. The other day we were, and this is based on a lot of study that is done, and there's a training I should do for teachers, and especially about boys, understanding gender and learning, and some ways to keep them engaged every 15 minutes in the class. And we have sat down with teachers in different schools and actually agreed to put in different things that will see the performance of the boys especially improve. And in some of the schools, they have come back and said, wonderful, the boys are doing way better because of some of the activities you include. Because sometimes you may not even go out, but within the class, you can have an activity that is connected to the lesson, and you let them stand up and do certain things, and it's connected to a lesson. They sit down again, just helping them, as you're saying, do those breaks. But moving on, Ewagata, there is also a lot of concern that with the with kids being hooked up, the word of Evelyn, to the phone and other things, they're becoming terrible with social skills. They're talking to them, you know, that you talk for a minute or two and they want to reach out for their phone, and you're having a conversation, you're asking questions. What are some of the ways we can do to encourage them? You do Hub Network, you work with a lot of these young people. There are some who cannot, you know, be able to maintain a conversation for 3 minutes. They're losing social skills.
Yeah, I think, you know, one of the big things that happened actually with COVID is actually the distraction on the social structure, not just the social skills, but even just the social structure. And people have learned to be on their own more than they have learned to be in community. But that does not mean they are doing better. It just means they have learned to cope, whichever mechanisms. And so that is where all this, even it's trying to avoid addictions and getting hooked, but it's the reality that we also live in a very addiction-driven economy. The more your product is addictive, the more your market grows, and you can test it for yourself and see. The people are hooked to their phones. They'd rather forget their wife at home but carry their phone. They'd rather reach town and realize you didn't carry your kids to school. You check after you've driven for 15 kilometers and you look back and realize that door was closed, but it was closed with guys still outside. And you're like, I'm not going back. But if you leave your phone, you'll do a U-turn and go back. And so, unfortunately, whether we like it or not, the subtle sell of many of the things we are using is the addictive edge that they have. And once you get into that space, even for adults, I mean, how many videos have you seen of guys who have walked into a post, guys who have fallen into a ditch? There's a lady actually who entered I think they were fixing some drainage down on the road, and she entered and she died because she landed, broke her neck. Why? Because she was on her phone, and the CCTV just captured the whole thing. And this is not kids; these are adults, because we can't seem to get our heads off these gadgets. And so we have to begin how then do we keep ourselves actively engaged socially? Because one of the biggest interests for a young person is their social engagement. Now, unfortunately, that social engagement has also moved online. You see this is the first generation where you have 5 teenagers sitting in a room and there's silence. And the only break will be when they want to show each other a video that has come through, or laugh about a comment that has been made, either in a group or on a TikTok message or something that they have watched. And so their socialization now is triangular. It's no longer two-way. It's three-way. It's me, the gadget, and the other person. In fact, it's even better when it's me, the gadget, and many other people on the other side of the gadget, not in the same room. And so we've become a distraction to our enjoyment of being on the screen. And we have to just be very intentional. I think things like some of those things that Kasina teaches people, you know what? Be intentional about pulling them off the screen. And it doesn't matter whether it's a 3-year-old or a 15-year-old. Just say, you know what? At this point, drop the gadgets, get out, find something to do. If you're bored, boredom is good. That's when genius ideas come into your mind. So sit there, get bored, enjoy the boredom, and think creatively. And let me tell you, the first hour may be rigorous for them. They will come back 10 times, nag you, oh, I'm bored. After 45 minutes, you see them coming with flowers. You see them coming with branches that have been tied together. You see them coming with boxes that have been cut into vehicles. And you're like, oh, you could actually make this stuff. You could actually have an adventure. The next thing you hear, football is throbbing out there. And the rest of the day, you're now calling them in. And I've seen this. If you let them enjoy the gadget, they will suck into it. But if you close the gadget and say, find something to do, they will find something to do. And so eventually now they build a routine into, I'll finish with my gadget and I will go out and do this. In fact, I have better interaction and better experience when I go out there. The human soul will never lose the craving for personal touch. So
yeah, that's right.
We will never outdo parents when it comes to influence. conversations and communication and interaction at that level will still be there. But there's a lot of distraction. The reality is the temptation to be on that gadget, safe. I don't have to shower because I've been on the gadget, because I came out dusty. I'm just okay. And I can sit here and I don't have to, if I'm tired of somebody, I can just block them for a bit, switch off so I can control my environment. And that's the exciting thing about the gadget. But we need to interact. Get them into a sport. Get them to learn an instrument. Get them to do a practical skill. Like one of my good friends has a son who does crochet like a movie. As if he's so good at it, he actually made a scarf within an afternoon that we were hanging together. He made a scarf for one of the visitors. And so you'll not see him on the gadget because he has this thing that catches his attention and he's just there crocheting. My son, even when he's online, he's on football. He'll look for football. The moment you open the door like this, the first thing he does is football, right? My other son does sculpt. He makes all sorts of cartoons with his hands. He's just an artist. And so he's made, I think, hundreds. I think I have like 3 boxes of masking tape rolled into different kinds of animals. So, and it's expensive because I have to buy 2-3 rolls of masking tape every week because that would. So,
it's expensive, but it's useful. It distracts him from, as it were, from the gadgets. And I like that because I think what we are telling parents is create alternatives. Don't tell kids get out of the screen, but there's no alternative. I'm glad right now as we have this conversation, my kids are actually across the table on the other side, and they're not on their gadgets. They're actually playing cards. We have some board games that we play together, which are very exciting, and they could play for 3 hours and really get excited and shout. And that's good because it then gives them something else to do. We have 3 dogs, so they get to wash them, play with them, take them for a walk. They do music.
I'm still washing the dog.
Well, interestingly, I've never washed them. They always do it. So we can talk on the side. But creating other things for them to be able to do. Tomorrow we are going to Shags, we'll plant some trees and do a few other things. But just creating activities that they can get out. So that
also all your kids have a passion. Every one of them has a different passion. As I said, my son is football, the other one is sculpting, the other one is music. So they will, even when they get out of the space where they are doing this thing physically, when they go online, they have a direction. So he will go and look at the players, he will go and study. And my other son goes and just looks at all this here. He has all the dinosaurs that he has made. He has gone into, which cartoons that he goes and he makes these things. And so I know now the content he watches online is determined by his gift. Right? So he's gaining out of being online to make this thing that now takes him offline to work at it. So know what your gifts of your child is and let them enjoy it so much that they go seeking it even on the online space. That way you also get them out of the content that is not healthy for them.
And remember last week we talked about like parents getting interested in what their kids do. I tell parents to stop asking, their children, like, how was your day? Because I mean, if I asked you right now, Simon, how was your day? You will tell me good, right? I mean, that is like the normal response. But then I keep insisting, like, and this is what I tell parents, be intentional when you want to have conversations with your children. If you want to have them, like, as a family setting, you're having like a meal or something, it's good. Devise a gadget, a basket. I tell people, get a basket. It doesn't need to be pretty. If you don't have a basket, go into your kitchen, get a dry bowl, wipe it very well, put your phones in there, all of you. If your children have phones, if you have phones, in there, so that when you're having conversations, first you're giving each other eye contact. Like, it has to be there. But also go out of your way and ask your children, by the way, while you were playing that game outside, how did it make you feel? Because then they start thinking about that emotion. And while they are talking about it, be very keen on how they, because when they're happy, there's an emotion that comes out. So you will always know when there's a red flag, when your child is not behaving the way you know them, right? And it helps you as a parent when you start hearing your children are doing some things outside and then you find them Googling these things, you're not surprised, like, oh, I hear you talk wapi. At least you know it came from somewhere, you know? So be intentional with the conversations you have. I keep saying, be very intentional. Acheni hiyo mambo ya, how was your day? It was good. Okay, cheers. Even mine. Ask them, what stressed you? How did you deal with that stress? So that you also help with the way you're saying children are losing also on their social skill. It's because we are having very one-worded short conversations. Be intentional with the conversations. Help them think, but also sit back and listen. Don't help them to finish their conversations very fast, because even as I think we have become very microwave, we just want pop in, pop out. Let's give them that opportunity to talk. If you want to have those small conferences, if one of your children loves walking, walk with them. If another one loves staying in the kitchen, stay with them, because you know your children, they're different. There's spaces where you know you can click with them. Spend that time with them, because it is very important to know your children individually, and it's also important for you to have conference together. So that's what I tell parents. But at that moment you're deciding, we are having a conversation, Simu, out of the conversation, no screens. Let the screens be out.
Yeah, that's right. One of the things I try to practice in most of our trips in the car is that no gadgets, so that we can talk. When you get bored, you're going to come up with a story and remember, you know, a holiday where we were somewhere, and we end up talking quite a bit. But when the gadgets are there, then nobody is really talking. Everyone is busy. It's only the driver who is not a lot on gadgets. But I like what you're saying, knowing the children, creating things that they can do, interesting them in that, but also creating family habits that bring you together, like walks or runs, or things like those that are interesting and they bring you together. But a few more things. Thank you to all of you online. Martin, we see what you had asked earlier about just limiting our screen time, both as parents and children. Josephine Mawanda, I see quite a lot that you've written. Let me just read one of it. We were discussing this the other day. Let's use the word addiction. Yes, they get addicted. Now, when we withdraw that addiction medium, they suffer withdrawal symptoms. Other crooks in the community can pick this up in a child and introduce them to another high, that is drugs, and it's a roller coaster ride. So it's interesting because, yeah, that high of feeling you're doing these games and these other things, it can easily be, you can easily be attracted to other highs, kind of highs, whether it's these drugs which are available, weed cakes and stuff like that. Just so much stuff out there. But we even have other dangers as we come towards now a close and talk more about just ways of cyber security. We have other dangers like kids being asked by people online. People can access you and talk with you and ask you for details, where you stay, where you go to school. Some have even given out details of their phone and bank accounts for the parents and stuff like that. A lot of people stealing information and the need to tell our children how to protect themselves from strangers. Evelyn, what do you say in a nutshell we need to tell our kids in terms of self-protection from strangers?
So security 101 for children as young as they can be in front of a gadget and communicate with a gadget is one, if they're playing games, let's say use a pseudo, just like use an avatar, not a pseudo really. Use an avatar. Children are very good at creating avatars and they can beautify it with whatever. For them, they may think it's beautification, but it's really protection, because you don't want your children to outrightly give all the information, and sometimes when they're playing games with people on the other side, they might not know if it's a child or it's an adult. Number two, teach your children as early as possible that things like phone numbers for the parents, where they go to school, when people are taking photos. Remember I said this last week, teach your child when anybody around them has a phone, and they're trying to take a video or a photo, they need to question, because consent has to come from them, really. I know people keep saying, ask parents whether we can take photos of our children, but the child also has to consent that photo going online. So let them learn to say, no, I don't know you, you cannot take photos of me. And if they can actually make a big deal out of it, let them make a big deal out of it, because that could be actually the differentiator between a real issue and just something that is, jokingly around. We who give our children phones and they can go to malls, they have access to Ubers and whatever, teach your children when they're out there and they don't have parental guidance. It is okay for them to take photos, let them not post when they're in those places. They can post after they've left the mall. Let your children not be very quick to do live videos where they are and there's no adult supervision. It's very dangerous. Also, if they can, I keep saying, don't teach your children not to take those same photos and videos when their the Google locator is on, because that piece of information when the Google locator is on, it's a huge differentiator. It can actually give a lot of security information about them. And then also where they're taking their photos. I think for the parents who are here, go Google how Pop Smoke died. Pop Smoke is a musician in the States who was doing a music tour or something of the sort. He had rented an Airbnb, and then in his night clubbing, he was on Insta Live. So he did an Insta Live, we are clubbing here. Accidentally, he took a shot of where he was, like literally the house he was in, and it went live. And people knew he was throwing an overnight party. So as people were coming in and going out, the thugs who came in, people who had a vendetta with him, but then they just needed to kill him. They didn't need to steal. They came, killed him. Then they realized, we can even bag some few things. They bagged a few things and went. But this was just an error of an Insta story, because an Insta story comes 24 hours and we think it disappears and goes somewhere. And those are the very small things. When you start realizing your children are into social media or they're into gadgets and they're doing a few things, you're just giving them those 101s. If they're buying them games, I said last week, block the chat. Tell them they cannot post where they go to school. They cannot share information about their parents. When they're taking photos, they have to look at their surrounding very clearly. Also, when they're taking photos of other people, let them contact other people to ask consent from them. So it's very basic things that we think are just basic, because even for us, we do it. We take photos of our friends. Then when we post and then somebody takes offense that they posted photos without saying, we're like, hey, yo, you posted a photo of me and you didn't ask. We do the same thing. So we need to just also let our children know that security can be breached in very many different ways, and we can be doing things innocently, but really they're not innocent. And even in schools, because I tell parents all the time, the websites that we take our children to schools, and the schools have websites. When the school is taking, video coverages and stuff like that, please ask the school to give you consent, a letter where you will sign and say, should my child's photo be taken, I don't want it published, or I'm okay for it to be published. Because you have to be in a position to say, I want my child to be known that they're in this school or not. So such kind of things, I know they might look petty for some people, but it is very important, because you don't know. You really do not know who is going to take that information. Teachers going for school trips and taking photos, and children have sweaters with logos and ziko kwa social media. And then that teacher leaves that school, but they posted photos of your children. House managers. I keep telling parents, house managers, by the way, they are also an aspect of security. They will take photos with, you can see photos behind me, and a house manager is busy taking photos in your house and then publish on social media, and your family photos are behind. Those are just the small things, they just need to look into it and put boundaries onto them. But then, of course, sometimes, unfortunately, some things have to happen for us to retrace back. But I keep saying also, before you press send, be very sure you're confident with what you're posting on the internet. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. I think that is helpful. Now we're coming towards a close. Unfortunately, time just flies. Let's start with you, Pasi. Just some ways to encourage people, because yes, there's a good of technology, and there's so much good that we can get out of it. And in fact, Martin Chang is saying the benefits of good technology are quite easy to interpret. But we're still not well equipped to completely curb the negatives. attached to this technology. So how can we balance the risk that our kids are exposed to as we exhibit the benefits of technology so that they don't fall prey to the negatives as well? I think that's all really we have been talking about, some ways to capture what is good, but also to protect them from what is bad. But let me ask you to go ahead and just say some encouragement, some guidelines, some ways that you would tell the parents it's not all lost. You know, in spite of the realities around us, we are still the parents. God has equipped us and given us responsibility to take care of our children, and it's going to be okay. There are some people who are just flat overwhelmed.
I gave this example this morning. I was preaching somewhere and I was telling them, do you know how your grandfather would feel or your grandmother would feel when he comes to the city and you're in the middle of traffic and there is a junction and cars are coming in and going out and you just seem to obliviously drive through because you understand the rules and you know the right of ways for the person on this side. At this point, the light is green and I can pass comfortably. And she doesn't understand how you agreed with this person that now they stop and you pass. And now you stop and they pass. And so for them, it is a scary experience from top to bottom. They look at the number of apartments in the city and they're like, how do you even find your house in this place? And so rather than embrace the fact that life is happening in this place, the response is pull away, go back to the village and say, I don't even know. Mine is to pray for my son every day because I'm sure he'll turn up dead. Because the way that city is going, people have not agreed on keeping left or right, and they say, oh, they agreed. People have not agreed on who enters the junction first, but they keep moving. And so for them, you are one step from death every moment. And I think this is how we feel as parents now, because our parents were village born, village raised. We moved to the city. Our success was to be able to conquer the city. Our children are digital born. They see things in those streets. You are seeing red lights. Then they're like, no, this is time for me to pass and for the other one to stop. Just try and picture that. And so they see it more clearly than you do. That is why they understand your phone better than you do. And they also have developed certain coping mechanisms that the parents do not have. They have developed certain ways of walking in those streets because those are their native streets. So they have that with ways of walking in those streets. And I've wrestled with my son. He's 16. And I'm like, what are you doing online? He's like, oh, I'm studying. And you know, for the fifth time, you even show up, even you're feeling silly about it, but you're just like, for the fifth time, I'm asking, what are you doing? Because you have this sense that the internet is so dangerous. You're that grandmother who is sitting there and thinking, hey, there were 50 cars at the junction, and my son just drove through. He didn't hoot, he didn't indicate, he didn't wave at the person. And so we see all the red lights as parents. And our children have developed mechanisms. Now, how do they develop those mechanisms? A child will be rooted, whether they are online or offline, if you raise them well. So the question is not where they are going, it's where are they coming from?
Yeah.
How are you raising them? What principles and values are you inputting in them? How have you trained up the child? You know, the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he grows old, he will not depart from it. How are we training up the child? Once they have those values, the things that Kasina is saying become second nature. Are you taking a picture? No, don't post it. Is it a video? Are you live? Is your Google locator on? No, that is not safe for us. Are we in school uniform? We can't take a picture with school uniform because that tells everyone where everybody's kid is studying. Some of these kids may be kids of a dignitary somewhere who need security. Some of these kids may be kids who have had an issue. Maybe let's say like they've been taken away because they're on child protection. They've been moved from another country to this country, especially in some of those high-end private schools. And you are there happily taking a picture. You send a message online and suddenly, boom. And even has given an example. This guy goes, he's partying, takes one picture. Maybe all the others covered his face, but one picture leaks out. So that becomes second nature to your children. My son has a paper in front of his camera on his laptop. Have I ever put mine? No. Do I know? He's more alert about the risk online than his father who bought him the computer. And I know. But I'm that villager sitting there saying, even if they see, they will just see me if someone preparing, they'll see me praying. But I don't, because he's aware, he's more alert about the online space than I am. So he'll always have his little paper on the camera. When he's doing his class, he'll remove the paper, have the class. And so we should not be afraid if we train up the child in the right way, that they will get lost in this world. Secondly, there are so many good things. I don't think it's good, it's appropriate to demonize the online space. It's appropriate to regulate, just like you regulate everything. I cannot be in the football pitch morning to evening because I love football. I have to have a social life. Even the best footballers, you know, I hear today the people have suffered somewhere in the city of Manchester, but that's a story for another day. But even the best footballer doesn't live in the pitch. What does that tell you? They have to balance. They have a family, they have businesses, they have a home, they have other interests they are building. Some of them are farming, some of them are raising, are hunters. You know, they go out there and just go into the wild and hang out and do all these things, game hunting, and they're eating this raw meat, they're scuba diving, they're doing all these other things. So they can't be a footballer. Neither can
and you know as well, they cannot be listening to music when they're playing soccer.
Yes, and so they have to stop this to do that. And so there is a balance that has to be there. We can encourage balance. We can encourage exploring other things. We can encourage them to grow in their faith, in their knowledge of God. And when they have reached that place of stature, the same city that our parents were afraid of has become our habitation. We are raising our children. The same internet that we feel is so scary becomes their place of employment, becomes their place of ministry. I met a young guy who has 100,000 followers. What does he do? He preaches a sermon every day, 5 minutes on TikTok, 3 to 5 minutes, sometimes 30 seconds, just a verse and praise. He has 100,000 followers. But what will we say? What are you doing on TikTok? TikTok is not even holy, but he preaches. So think about it. And they are leveraging amazing things out there. Those who are doing coding and getting employed. The same places. So let us see this as the city that our fathers saw. Let us see the online space as that new space. Be encouraged.
Excellent. Excellent. Before we come to you, Kasina, and then you tell us your last few words, let me read a scripture here. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 1 to 4. And it says, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is the right thing to do. And it says, honor your father and mother. This is a first commandment with a promise. If you honor your father and mother, things will go well for you. And you will have a long life on the earth. I think what I like about that scripture before I go to 4 is that there are two things children are asked to do in relation with their parents. That is obedience and honor. Obedience and honor. And as we train our kids around technology and all these other issues and morality, we need to to prepare them to be able to obey what is right, especially before they get to 18. They just need to understand obedience, that as they obey the rules, they're starting by obeying their parents, but actually in the long run, they are learning obedience for the rules of the cyberspace, rules of life, rules of the road. They're learning obedience because obedience protects them in this life. And if they learn it, then they're going to live long. The areas where they will be involved, at work, on the road, everywhere. But number 2, just honor, to be honorable to others. The way on the social media people call each other names, jinga, stupid, just very dishonoring terms. Teaching them to honor other people, to respect others. And it begins by respecting their own parents. That's why we teach them those two values, obedience and honor. And as they learn them, then they'll apply them on the internet, in other places. But then it says, fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, by the way you treat them. And I think it's to say all of us, by the way we treat our children, as we teach them, and we need to be patient about training on technology and the boundaries and all of that. Don't provoke them to anger, don't push them to a place where they have to react. Be sober about it, have good conversations. It says instead of provoking them to anger, bring them up in the discipline and instruction that comes from the Lord. So have lots of time for talking, instructing them, showing them what is right and what is not right, modeling for them. Just realize you're a parent, and it's wholesome. It's not just about technology, it's the values they grow in, because they will apply those to technology, they'll apply those to different other aspects of their lives. But as parents, just to realize there's a call for us to train those values and instruct our children in the way that they should go. Hasina.
Wow, I love what you've said towards the end. Instructions. Yeah. There is when one of the hardest, honestly, for me as a trainer, and I know you resonate, the two of you resonate with this, is when we be punishing our children. We want, when we tell them once, they hear and it's apply, and when you disobey, it's consequences rambling down. And when I'm telling parents, they need to be able, you've said instructions come with processes, right? I tell parents to imagine when they break the law, like they jump a red light, for instance, yeah? They're given a warning, right? I mean, the government just doesn't come raining on you. There's a police who, Madam Ulivuka, I mean, there's a warning. And maybe an escalation would be a fine before you go to court. And, before you're taken to jail, there's really a process. And I tell parents to think about the process even our own land gives us as adults when we violate certain laws. So that when we are applying the same discipline with children, it has to be something that has a process. Let's violate this is what will happen. And when you're giving your children responsibilities, as I said last week, let it have consequences. It can't be without, in the absence of consequences, but let the consequences make sense to the child. Yeah, because the instructions, the way you say it, they don't just come like this. It's not a microwave. But for those who feel like they're really overwhelmed, I want you to think about the Mara. Kenya is really celebrated because of our tourism. And we all love to go to the Mara. But you and I, who are not specialists of tourism, we depend on tour guides to take us through the terrains, because they're the ones who know, the lions are that side, kuna Masai lions, this side is a good side to see, all this. We actually definitely rely on guidance from other people. The first guidance your children will need is from you at home. But when you feel, and I said this last week, when you feel you're insufficient in certain areas, that's where you need professional help, or you need secondary help. Don't be shy to ask for help. It is there. I know Martin was saying, the space can be very overwhelming. Yes, but in the same space that is overwhelming, it's very beautiful. This week, I happened to see a 5-year-old who went through a coding class. I think it was like a 12 session for coding class. A 5.5-year-old has coded a game from his brain. The things he has been doing with chicken, I think I will ask the mother for permission so that at least people get to believe that this is an actual story. A 5-year-old was sitting in a 90-minute class, taking instructions. By then, he kept asking questions. Other students kept saying, this child is talking a lot, and we said everybody's different. But after he did a challenge this week and he presented a game, 5-year-old. And that is a child who ordinarily would be doing other things, watching cartoons and being distracted. But because he had a certain interest and the parents took that interest and did something with it, he's actually helping his child. And so I keep telling parents, don't be overwhelmed. Just look at the glass is half empty. So where do you want to put your worries in? If there are things you cannot really help yourself, ask for help. But also always look at the positive things of the internet. The internet is an amazing space. Right now, it is really helping us look at the world differently. And once we keep telling ourselves positivities, we talk to ourselves. We see the world differently. And another thing that I found parents really struggling with, and especially, and I think I talked to you last week about it, the issue of self-identity, which is something really concerning with this age bracket. I'm just hoping that parents can start affirming their children at home. Affirm your child. Be the person who affirms your child, but also teach your children to affirm themselves. Because once they don't feel love at home, the unfortunate thing is that they look at it from the wrong places, and you have no control over the other side of the screen. You really don't have control. Let your child know they're loved themselves, but also speak the life into them. Tell them they're loved, they're special. Let your children also know whatever happens outside there, at home, I will take everything. I'm the best person with you. I'm the person with your best interest at heart. So bring those things at home, so that at least you're creating that space for them. Because out here, it's really becoming spirit that parents have. But let's look at the internet as both good, and let's not really dwell a lot on the negativity. But just think about the Mara. You can never go in there, even if you have the best four-wheel, without knowing the terrains. You need help. So when you need it, seek it out, because it is there for you.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Well, we are grateful. We are so happy to have these conversations. I think good points from both of you, Evelyn and Wagata. Unfortunately, we have come to the end of it. Wagata, you look like you had a very pressing last point. But before you do that, I like what you said, Evelyn, that it's about the basics that we give our children. Otherwise, they'll go looking for those things in the internet. And usually at Transform Nations, we talk about the 3 years. We need to show acceptance to the kids at home, because if they don't get that, they'll find it elsewhere, and they'll end up in these wrong exposures. We need to show them affection, that is love, because they also will try and find love out there if they don't get it at home. And also affirmation, affirm them and teach them that they are of great value. So 3 years, acceptance, affection, affirmation, they're really the foundations of psychological health for our children as we teach them many things. Pasi, you want to say something we close?
I think I'll just bring it home with a scripture. The Bible says it's for freedom, Galatians 5:1, it's for freedom that Christ has set us free. And then it says, stand firm then, and do not let yourself be burdened again by the yoke of slavery. And so God has set us free. And let me tell you, internet or no internet, we could do bad all by ourselves. But Christ set us free. And so the same salvation that brought you out is available for your children. And so it's not about so much about the experience that they're having. It is the Christ that takes them through those experiences. Some of us without the internet had bad experiences. Some of us had fair experiences. Some of us had good experiences outside of the internet. And so it's the same thing. Christ has set us free, and it's for freedom that he has set us free. And so, but it's for us to stand firm. And that's where the disciplines come from. Being able to stand firm. The world will not get any easier. It will not get any better. It will not become any softer on us. It's up to us to stand up and not let ourselves again be burdened by the yoke of slavery. And the yoke of slavery has to do with all these, the addictions, the fatal attractions. We didn't even talk about the relationships and affairs that spring out of the internet, because it's just a handsomeness that is in the internet that is not in physical meetings. And so you find people falling in love with people they have never met and can talk endlessly the whole night. And so if you have not stood firm, these things will sway you. And so that's my encouragement to us. Christ came that we might find freedom. And even as we stand, let's not open those doors. Let's not be careless. I like one of the things that you will hear a lot over and over, if you listen to Man Enough, if you listen to Intentional Dad, if you listen to all those programs that Pastor Simon does, is something called intentionality. You could underline everything. It's being intentional. You can be the best pastor, but if you're not intentional with your children, you miss it. You can be the best teacher, but if you're not intentional with your students, you miss it. You can be the best driver, but if you're not intentional to be careful on that road, you'll miss it. And one day you'll make a mistake that is fatal. And so being intentional.
Excellent.
I keep saying there is no osmosis in parenting. You have to do the work. You can't wish it, you have to do the work.
Excellent. And just to remind all of you that we are doing many programs online this season at Transformations around parenting, intentional moms, intentional dads. Yesterday, we just concluded Mothers of Sons program, excellent program. And we just want to invite you, check the details on our website and social media pages. There are several of those programs starting off in the next week or two. You're welcome to be able to sign up for them. So again, we have to leave it here. Thank you, Evelyn Casina. Feel free to follow Evelyn. She does a lot of online work and conversations on this. Good work. So please follow her and get more details, and you can talk to her as well. And also Pastor Wagata does a lot of work with the youth, and is a good consultant in that area as well. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all that have joined us. It's been a wonderful conversation. We look forward to switching gears and moving to a new topic that is going to be introduced to us within the week on next Sunday, right here, same time. We'll have a good time together. God bless you, parents. Let's remember, our most enduring investment is the investment we make in our children. That's a legacy we leave inside of them. So let's give ourselves and encourage ourselves to bring them up in the right ways. God bless you. Thanks, Evelyn. Thanks, Awagata. Excellent and good evening.